What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Jihad EL-AMIN, Lunchtime Loving Cool Jihad. We here uh, talking about classroom leadership, talking about raising children, talking about um, focused on relationships. That's still where we are. And as I was thinking when I was reading the chapter today, um, that we talk about how relationships are so important, um, but we don't deliberately um, look at breaking relationships down and how to build relationships and how to maintain relationships. And then it was interesting that they wrote this whole book on relationships, and I'm sure there's several other things on relationship. This was the first one caught my eye. For my people who don't know, this book right here, the Four Habits of Success, All Successful Relationships. Um, they have a TED talk too if you don't want to read the book. Um, and you can actually use Speechify, scan the page, and it'll read it to you pretty good. But I've been reading a book because I reading books is a different type of meditation. That's how I look at it. I love listening to audio books, especially when I don't have time or if I'm doing something else. But um, but reading books is a different type of meditation. But anyway, um, still focusing on relationship building and relationship maintenance. Um, and I'm still in the section where they on the grid talking about skill and will. Ironically, arguments and the frustration quadrant are signs of life. Silence and indifference are signs that the relationship is dying. Right now, uh, being a young man, I remember the older guys telling me, my dad and older guys saying like, if a girl is mad at you and she fussing you out, and then you in there because she actually put forth energy to acknowledge your presence. If she ain't saying nothing to you, she not acknowledging that you exist, you might be in trouble then, right? Um, and they say in this is that a level of conflict, right? A level of engagement is a level of life. When I got surgery, they was like, if you bleeding, you alive, right? And it's crazy because, you would think a level of conflict is contributing to the downfall of the relationship. But all of that avoidance, all of the non-engagement is really the decaying of the relationship. That's the premise, right? That's what they giving. Um, and I'm actually streaming this live too on. I'm stepping my game up. I'm streaming this live to my YouTube page. So people who don't have Instagram, don't do social media, but they do YouTube. I have Grinding for Greatness YouTube page, and I'm streaming this live to that page too, and it'll be housed there that you can watch this. And then I will figure a way to post it to my Facebook page also. We got G4G, Grinding for Greatness, Power in Your Position Facebook group. Make sure you go join. Make sure you like, make sure you share. Uh, Make sure you save this, like this, share this, comment on this. I've been saying go in my DM. Some people go there, but you can comment on the video too. That'll be lovely, lovely, lovely. But once again, we here talking about classroom leadership, raising and rearing children, using those relationships that you make with children to leverage it to get them to do the best that they can do. And man, I've been working at it. I've been working at it, been working at it, been working at it. And the chapter that I've been reading is right now I'm in the section where it's talking about the conflict in a relationship is not a sign of the relationship dying. It's actually a sign of life, right? They saying it's actually a sign of life. So, you know, um, when you when you are going back and forth with somebody, then that means you have will. You actually have the will to try to maintain or maintenance the relationship, right? So when your students or when your children get upset with you and they mad and they huffing and they puffing and you mad and you know, my mom used to do this thing. And one more thing, right? She'll fuss you out, walk away, come back and say, and one more thing, right? So when they come to you and y'all having conflict, you actually engage in each other, right? And I would get on my students sometime, you know, I pull them in the hallway or something, and I'm giving them that energy, right? I'm giving them that energy, and I tell them like, you'll understand right now that this is love that's happening right now, right? The reason I'm intense with you now is because this is love right here. If I ain't love you, I wouldn't even be trying, right? I know the check is direct deposit now. I ain't gotta come pick it up. It'll be in the bank, right? So I could figure a way to just get the check and let you be. But the fact that I'm engaging you, the fact that I'm you know, coming after you and we having conflict and I'm not turning away from the conflict, mean that I love you enough, care about you enough, think about you enough that I'm willing to do this. And sometimes when you in a relationship, right, with somebody or you working with somebody and y'all get into it and you want to avoid them, right? What we talked about yesterday, you know, that whole, you know, avoidance and whole, you know, staying away from each other. But if y'all can't avoid each other, if y'all don't want to avoid each other, and as a teacher, right, you can't avoid. The kid can avoid, the kid can skip, right? Or I guess the teacher could avoid too. The teacher could get sick and not come. All right. But overall, you can't avoid these relationships that you in with these children and in your classroom, these scholars, and you have to engage them, right? And you know, if they, I mean, some give you heat, and I've gave heat back, and you know, I understand it. It kind of take us back to the other one of the other videos in this series. If you own the videos on my page too, you can just go to my page, and all of the videos from the Lunchtime Love is there. But where I was talking about the why you mad, and you know, have your reason why you so intense, right? And your reason got to be a benefit to the kid, right? It got to be something that, you know, I got my 10-year plan. So I'm engaging you and I'm willing to go in conflict with you and I'm willing to go there with you, right? Because I got this 10-year plan. I want to bump into you in 10 years and you are happy and successful. This is my business you came to shop at. I run this corporation. I'm the CEO, the COO, the CFO. You know, this is, you know, that my family is the one who building these housing complex down the street. You know what I mean? It's my wife, this my daughter, this my kids, and we just happy. You know what I mean? So I got this 10-year goal, this 10-year plan that I tie into all of what I do. And I'm willing to be in conflict with you. I'm willing to fight to keep the relationship alive, right? And that was probably one of the things that actually attracted me to my wife was when we talked, the first time we talked, a lot of that conversation was around us willing to put in work to maintain a relationship, right? I felt like I seen in her that she would fight for something that she felt was good, right? So just because you have conflict doesn't mean that the relationship is a failure, right? Just because you in arguments, just because y'all in tense times, just because y'all passing each other in the hallway, giving each other, you know, side eyes and all that type of stuff, don't mean that the relationship is over and it's time to run and it's time to start to look for other stuff, because that's what it was saying too. When you're in that desperation quadrant of the relationship, you know, every out look enticing, right? All of the grass look greener on the other side, right? Every little yard, every little garden look really green. Everything look, and it could be something, you could be in a relationship that you want. Like they telling the story of this guy who was working at a hotel, but him and the lady that he have to directly deal with to do his job are in conflict. He loved the job, been at the job for a long time, do a good job at the job, but he really thinking of quitting because the conflict is happening and he don't feel like he for being fulfilled. He don't feel like the work getting done, and so he willing to let it go, right? And sometimes we have to, realize that just because we have a blow up, don't mean that it's over, right? We ain't got, we have a blowout, don't mean it's blown up, right? Don't mean that it's all over again. You actually can work your way through it using some skills, right? Using communication skills, understanding what's the other person's strong form of communication, meeting them where they are, taking them where you are, both of y'all communicating through y'all strengths, right? Listening, active listening, right? I hear what you said. So what you said was, what I hear you saying is, clarifying what you heard. So then you make sure that you heard what they said, or what they said is what they meant, right? And really being deliberate at working at building the relationship, right? And with COVID, and we don't know the ups and downs, and if we're gonna be back locked in the house together with each other again, you know what I mean? All of this is important, right? Even the relationship with with your students' parents is important, right? You back on Zoom. When I was teaching on Zoom, I was working with some fourth graders on Zoom, and somebody had asked me, I'm part of this writing group that I need to get back on the ball with Dr. Price and Jalen. They in Arkansas, these two teachers, educators in Arkansas. And we were talking, and they was talking about teaching online. And I was saying, like, I realized that my success in teaching over Zoom was because I understood that I was teaching to the whole house. I wasn't just teaching to this particular student that I saw on the screen, but I was teaching to the whole house. And not to say that everybody in the house needed to learn how to do one-step equations, but I was teaching them how I use the art or the art of learning, right? I was teaching them the art of learning, because it wasn't that I'm just good at math and I just taught math, right? It was because I was good at relating, and I was good at explaining, and I was good at meeting the student where they was, then clearly showing them where they needed to go, and then having the patience to journey with them to where they need to be, right? And tying all that into that 10-year plan of what it is that I want from them, right? This is where you need to be, and then this is what I want, right? Those are two things, right? So I know you need to be here. You need to be either doing math at a 6th grade, 7th, 8th grade level, and I want for you to be able to be successful in 10 years when I see you, right? So I knew that I was teaching to the whole house, and I needed to relate to the parents if they got on the screen or didn't get on the screen. And most of the time that I did tutoring, I spend a lot of time talking with the parents of the kids that I tutor, right? And sometimes it's about the work, and it's about the school stuff, and it's about navigating schools and how to talk to teachers and administrators and all those things that allow them to have a successful relationship with the institution, right? But then sometimes it's just about life. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I'll tutor kids who was raised by their grandparents, and the grandparent will just say, like, man, I just didn't see myself doing this at 60, 70 years old, raising a 13-year-old. And we just go into that conversation. I'm gonna then be genuinely interested, in what they saying. And then, I may use that later on. Like, that may be something in my toolbox. Like, your grandparents is putting in work and effort and sacrifice to help you have a good space, a good space to grow, right? A good space to learn, i.e., make mistakes and recover from your mistakes, because they didn't create an environment that you got a soft landing space when you fall or fail, that you can get up and they can encourage you and dust you off, but then you can't make their job harder than what it is, and when I started to teach to the whole room, I guess you could say to the whole house. If you teaching online, what I'm saying is you relate to the whole house, right? Where sometimes I will be teaching and talking, and a kid might be out of control or doing something or low key watching TV, and I check them. And the way that I check them by building them up, I talked about that in another video. When I check them about building them up through building them up, and a parent will just pop in the screen like, I've been telling them that. That's what I've been telling them. See, everybody not telling the same lie. I've been telling them the exact same thing. So, and that tie into that whole, when I was reading the paper about, the pedagogy or the philosophy of ancient African education. And when they were saying it was about survival and it was about cultural transference, right? Or cultural assimilation, right? Where the school should be a echo chamber of the values that you are getting at home, or at home should be an echo chamber of the values that you are getting at school, right? Either way this thing goes, right? That and that's why I'm a big component in living in the neighborhoods of the kids I teach, because then I'm a part of the culture, right? I'm a part of their culture. I bump into them at the grocery store. I bump into them at the drugstore. I bump into them at the corner store. I bump into them at the gas station. I bump into them at the park. I bump into them at little community events. So then I'm a part of their culture. I know the language, the lingo, I know the customs. I'm a part of the culture, right? And that transference of culture is a thing that allow you to work have the will to work through the conflict in those rough points where either where frustration is in, or y'all to hit a point of desperation within the relationship. That help you understand that it's the conflict is not the death of the relationship. The conflict is showing you that it's still life in the relationship, right? It's still kicking and popping and moving, right? It's still doing something. So then it's not dead. So when you're in those moments where you get heated and your student get heated, you get heated and your child get heated, and y'all engage each other in that heat, then that's not the death of the relationship. That's life of the relationship. And we're gonna wrap it up. My timer went off. I hear him in the hallway, in and out. You matter. You are important. You are put on this earth and in this universe for a reason. It wouldn't be what it is without you here. The collection of your molecules and your chromosomes and your electrons all matter to this existence, and share that with somebody and help them become better. And I love you. I believe in you. And we out.